Imagine standing in a glass booth, headphones on, heart pounding as you listen to one of the world's most influential figures, Pope Francis, speak to a sea of thousands. Your job? To instantly transform his words, his wit, and his warmth into another language, all while the world listens in. It's not just a high-wire act, it's a linguistic tightrope walk, where every pause is loaded with anticipation and every word could change the mood of the room. Interpreters are the unsung heroes of global communication. They don't just translate words, they capture the spirit, the energy, and the subtle nuances that make a message resonate. And when it comes to Pope Francis, their job becomes even more complex. He's not just a religious leader, he's a master storyteller, a lover of puns, and a man who delights in catching his audience and his interpreters off guard. Pope Francis is famous for his humor, his warmth, and his ability to connect with people from all walks of life. Born Jorge Mario Bergoglio in Buenos Aires, he grew up in a culture rich with idioms, double meanings, and playful banter. His speeches are peppered with jokes, anecdotes from his childhood, and references that only a true porteño, a native of Buenos Aires, would fully grasp. He's known for going off script, tossing in a cheeky quip or a local saying, and generally keeping everyone, including his language team, on their toes. For interpreters, this unpredictability is both exhilarating and nerve-wracking. One moment, you're following a carefully prepared speech. The next, you're scrambling to translate a joke about Argentine football or a pun that only makes sense in Italian. Picture this. You're ready to deliver a flawless translation, and suddenly, the Pope launches into a story about his grandmother's advice, or drops a phrase that's pure Buenos Aires street slang. The audience erupts in laughter, and you have a split second to decide. Do you explain the joke, adapt it, or risk losing the magic of the moment? Take Monsignor Mark Miles, the Pope's English interpreter and a veteran of Vatican diplomacy. Mark is the voice millions hear when Pope Francis addresses the English-speaking world. His job is to keep up with every twist and turn, every sudden switch from Spanish to Italian, every offhand joke or cultural reference. Mark's composure is legendary. He's like a linguistic acrobat, balancing meaning, tone, and humor, all while the world listens in. His training goes beyond language. He must understand the Pope's personality, his background, and the cultural context behind every phrase. During the Pope's 2015 tour of Latin America, Mark faced one of his toughest challenges. Francis would switch between Spanish and Italian mid-sentence, peppering his speeches with local idioms and references to Latin American history. For example, when the Pope joked about mate, the traditional Argentine drink, Mark had to decide whether to explain the cultural significance or find a parallel that would resonate with a global audience. Then there was the infamous pollera incident in the United States. The Pope mentioned a pollera, a word that means skirt in Argentina, but can have very different, even risque meanings in other Spanish-speaking countries. Suddenly, Mark was navigating a cultural minefield with the entire room waiting for the punchline. He had to think fast, choosing words that would preserve the humor without causing confusion or offense. In moments like these, interpreters rely on more than just fluency. They need cultural intelligence, quick thinking, and a dash of creativity. Sometimes, they have to invent a new joke on the fly, or find a way to make the audience laugh in a completely different language. But it's not just about words. Interpreters must capture the energy in the room, the laughter, the shared understanding, the emotional highs and lows. They're the bridge between cultures, making sure that everyone, no matter where they're from, can feel included in the moment. In 2024, when Pope Francis met with comedians like Whoopi Goldberg and Stephen Colbert, the challenge reached a new level. The room was filled with rapid-fire jokes, cultural references, and the infectious joy of shared laughter. The interpreters had to keep up, ensuring that the Pope's message of unity through humor wasn't lost in translation. Translating humor is one of the hardest tasks in the profession. Puns, timing, and tone don't always cross borders easily. Sometimes, interpreters have to improvise, crafting a new punchline that fits the audience and the moment. The best interpreters do more than just translate. They transmit the feeling, the spark, the very soul of the speaker. When they succeed, you forget there's a translation happening at all. You feel like you're in on the joke, no matter what language you speak. The role of interpreters in high-profile events goes far beyond technical skill. They're cultural ambassadors, diplomats, and sometimes miracle workers. They ensure that world leaders can connect with people from every corner of the globe, building bridges of understanding and empathy. Language isn't just about translation, it's about connection. It's about empathy, about finding exactly the right word in a moment of pressure, and about making sure that everyone, everywhere, can share in the laughter and the meaning. So, next time you hear Pope Francis crack a joke and the whole room erupts in laughter, remember the interpreters in the booth. They're the ones making sure the punchline lands, the message connects, and the world laughs together. Hats off to the interpreters who bridge cultures, inspire hope, and keep up with the Pope's punchlines. They truly are the miracle workers behind the scenes.